Remember when Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high? Well, Democratic leadership looks to be employing a brand new messaging strategy. When they win on policy, we just lie. I give you House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi with an interesting take on immigration.
We have a responsibility to protect our borders. Let's make no mistake about that. And Democrats have been strong on that point, all of our borders. In fact, I said to some of you before that when we had the 9/11 incident and the commission was formed and they made their recommendations, they made recommendations to protect America. But the Republicans would never take them up, and some of it was about our borders.
Oh, wait a second. Did you say that 9/11 was an incident? Well, Democrats are tough on immigration. Well, to debate that, let's bring in Michael Cutler, former senior special agent at INS, the predecessor to ICE, and immigration attorney Francisco Hernandez. Great to see both of you.
Thanks
Francisco,
thank you.
How are Democrats tougher on immigration than Republicans? Which, when she's trying to convince us of that, it leads me to believe she knows they're losing on this ICE issue. But nevertheless, she's making a bold proclamation that the Democrats are the ones who are really all for border enforcement. Tell us how.
Well, guys, do we want to sit here and get our feelings hurt about what she meant and what she wants to say? Or do you guys want to call her bluff? Prove them wrong. Make them filibuster. At least let them show their cards. But we're sitting back not doing anything because they hurt our feelings. They say they're stronger on immigration than we are. What she did forget to say is to point out that all of the 911 terrorists were here legally.
Well, no, actually, one had overstayed a visa. It was on the wrong type of visa. One shouldn't have been on that visa. Yeah, so originally on a overstayed visa. But, I mean, calling 9/11 an incident as an American citizen, I mean, I know Nancy's, been a little slow lately, but that's just abhorrent. It's beyond outrageous. Michael,
sure.
This argument about abolish ICE, which kind of undergirds what Nancy's talking about here.
Right.
It's exploded across the country. These protests,
Yes.
whipping up people. They feel bad because separated kids. I understand that. But they've backfired. These protests have backfired, and most people think we need ICE because they do human trafficking work. They do all this great drug interdiction work. And yet, the Democrats, they thought that was going to be political nirvana. And I don't see it. I think it's been a complete disaster for them, this idea.
Well, and by the way, it's interesting she brings up 9/11. I've been raising the issue forever. I arrested terrorists as an immigration agent. Most people don't realize the second largest contingent of agents assigned to the Joint Terrorism Task Force are immigration agents. And I provided testimony to the commission. So when she said, well, one of the things was border security, she's right. The other part of it, the embedding tactic, was immigration fraud. That's the bailiwick of ICE, the same agency that she was demanding be disbanded. So how in the world can you be in two places at one time, except, of course, Washington? But the idea that we're going to take immigration out of the equation when the 9/11 Commission found that multiple failures of the immigration system, particularly interior enforcement, that was the key words in the 9/11 Commission report. How do you eliminate interior enforcement and say that you're following the findings and recommendations of the 9/11 Commission? It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, get this. There's another issue. Attorney General Jeff Sessions was up in Boston yesterday, and he announced arrests in this major identity fraud operation where 25 individuals are now standing accused of stealing Social Security numbers to obtain what amounted to $250,000 in government benefits. So if you're not outraged by that, we'll wait to hear about this story's connection to the border.
Out of the 28 defendants charged, 21 are in custody, and 22 of the total are in this country illegally. 19 have arrest records for everything from breaking and entering, assault and battery on a police officer.
Well, Francisco, you got this deal with identity fraud, Social Security fraud, collecting benefits.
And you and I have been talking about this for years.
And Sessions says, look, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's $250,000 just in Boston, tip of the iceberg.
Yes. Why don't we give these folks a reason to come out of the shadows and actually identify themselves so we can separate the ones that want to build us from the ones that want to harm us? But we have no incentive to find out who they are. They're just sitting there out there floating around, possibly using Some of them your Social Security number, my Social Security number. But ICE can only do what Congress tells it to do. ICE is dependent on the INA law. Congress is sitting there blaming now ICE. Both parties are blaming ICE and DHS for their failure to act for the last 18 to 20 years on immigration
we're not
reform.
failing to
I'm
act,
sure
Francisco, be very clear about this. Sessions is not failing to act. I interviewed Andrew Lelling, the U.S. Attorney in Boston, today on the radio.
No, the Congress.
And
Congress.
Yeah, well, there is great enforcement going on, and Michael, you can speak to this.
Congress isn't enforcing either.
Wait a minute,
They're
Francisco.
matching up Medicaid applications to the Social Security numbers, and they're finding out there is rampant fraud. And it's not just people who committed violent crimes. There is food stamp Medicaid fraud across this country by people who came into this country illegally. It happens every single day.
Here's the point.
It's a rip-off to the American public. Michael, go ahead.
And citizens.
Yeah, sure. Francisco, wait a second. Let's wait a moment. First of all, none of them came in legally. They all committed visa fraud, all of the 9/11 hijackers. They all lied to the inspectors at the airport. Wait a moment.
But they came here legally.
You had your turn. This is my turn, okay? So the point is that the laws that are on the books are more than adequate to go after terrorists and criminals who defraud the immigration system. And the bad guys won't come out of the shadows if they know they're wanted.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
All you would be doing is legalizing illegal aliens and giving them opportunities to hide.
Guys, we're going to be very few people are covering this type of fraud involved that intersects with illegal immigration, but we're going to be on this, and we're going to dig deeper into what's happening just in New England, and fentanyl is involved too, but we're going to stay on this issue. Thank you for joining us. And up next, it isn't just Twitter that's trying to snuff out conservative voices. Wait to hear about what Facebook tried to do regarding a candidate running for Congress in Florida. That and Peter Thiel's message for Silicon Valley next.